here. So, as always, Power Hour stream will look at flow, take requests, whatever you got questions, feel free to drop them. If you got contracts, please drop contracts. That'll make the stream go by a lot quicker as well too and help out. But yeah, we'll kind of start out. We'll look at the tide, kind of just do what we normally do. Market tide right now. All of our premiums are bid side right now, so everything sitting below that zero bid side. Calls, puts, bid side. Call volume starting to kind of pick up here a little bit, but just not seeing a lot of ask side call volume or call premium to kind of go along with it. SPY, QQQ, your leaders on the top. Net impact. NVIDIA and Tesla, Hood, your leaders on the put premiums. Let's see, I gotta give this a refresh. Gotta refresh that for the sentiment there. Still sitting greed there, and yeah, we're still seeing good breadth here too, so that is a good sign there. Let's see what we got coming in for flow. So we just had this next flow hit here, so 127 days, kind of long term there. Does overlap earnings. 13% out of the money, not too far out of the money. Down a little bit today. How have we looked in the past here? So not a ton of premium traded on this one usually. Big drop in that call premium here looks like back on the 18th. Alright, let's look at the flow here and see how that looks. Let's see, is this our first trade of the day? No, we have a little more flow on this, so okay. So IV spikes when this comes in here, so that looks good here. So it's saying it's a descending fill, so let's find where that descending fill is. So it looks like here's your descending fill right there. Small little IV drop. You are coming in at 49 here, so that is essentially closer to the ask. You are still coming in at the ask pretty much there. Another one there, and the IV comes back up. So it looks good to me. What else do we got on it for the day? Is that our, yeah, that's our by far the major leader in the volume today. So this, we'll pop this one into the long-term one. That's a interesting piece of flow there. Let's get that in there. Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of flow after the kind of the first half of the morning there, but we ended up getting some decent flow yesterday here. Let me just get this one popped into the long-term channel here. Give me 1 second here. Oh, that's flow and charts. Wrong one. All right, here we go. A lot of fat fingers today. Okay. Good afternoon. It is, what is it, 2 here? 2 o'clock here. It's cold, you know. Typical Minnesota. Let's see. So Piton, very, very long term here. Do have some previous open interest we'll have to take a peek at on this one. So 8,000 previous. When did this start coming in here? Yeah, we're supposed to get blasted this weekend. Actually, I just got the alert on my phone that it's a severe warning with the weather. So this was this Piton or Piton? I was going to say Palantir. Okay, so Piton, it's kind of looking at this. Just kind of got add there. Somebody contracts changed hands here on the 17th of June. There you can see that. No Open interest changed there on the 18th, so somebody else is holding 1,500 contracts. Just kind of want to follow this up and see how it looks. So 2,200, so that did carry over there. Just trying to see if contracts are changing hands. So then the 6th here of November, 1,000 contracts. No open interest change there on the 7th, so somebody else is holding 1,000. This is, yeah, kind of some messy tape here. That open interest is continuing to go up, but a lot of contracts kind of changing hands here. And if we pop this back as well, too. So these are kind of your contracts changing hands here. That flow today, definitely an opener. Very, very far out of the money there, though, as well. 400 days out. So, I mean, about 2 years on those contracts. It's a lot can happen in 2 years, obviously, but 120% out of the money, that is kind of far, a little too far for me. And I just don't like all those contracts kind of changing hands. How did that raw flow feed look here? So it's coming in as a block trade as well, too. So you can't see how that flow is really looking around that. And this is the first trade on the day on that contract. You can just see that size 10,000, volumes 10,000. It's the first trade of the day on that chain. Not multi-leg. Yeah, I just don't like that, how far that is out of the money. Let's see what else do we got coming in here. Sale coming in a little bit below the ask. We'll take a peek at it. 7% out of the money, 36 days, no multi-leg. Do these overlap earnings? We don't have an earnings date here. Definitely an opener. Premiums are bid side, though. That put volume is picking up. Let's see how much. So this is 30%, 36% of the total volume here on the day, and we are trading 5.43 times the normal volume. See what we can get out of this. So this is our first trade on, and yep, this is our only flow in the day. First contract traded there, so it's volume 1 there. So let's just kind of follow this up and see. So we're coming in at the ask here. 97. I want to see where we're dropping here. So we're dropping on smaller premium and a little smaller size. 779 here. Again, coming in pretty much on that ask side. 397. So it looks like that ask was more than likely 80 that entire time here. You had a little spike here at the end. Obviously, a lot of contracts getting traded on that chain. You might see that ask kind of pop up a little bit there. So it is saying it's a neutral fill here, but just kind of comparing it to the other flow here, that 80, you're probably at the ask essentially. So this is something I wouldn't want to take a gamble. What is that? 80 cents a contract, 7% out of the money, 36 days. Let's see. See how that chart looks. So we have a dividend coming up here. Oh, no, never mind. Earnings are February 16th. So these, okay, expire before then. Let's see. Almost. Let's see. I was going to say, it almost wants to look like a kind of a little head and shoulders here. Let's get this trend in here. I mean, on that weekly here, you're sitting right on that trend line as well there, too. It's kind of a little goofier. I wouldn't really call this a true head and shoulders here, but I mean, you kind of see where it's forming there, and then you got your trend line there, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on there. How about on a longer view as well? So if I come out here, see if we can kind of And that's going to be a really ugly trend, so you're not going to get anything from there. Yeah, if I was going to take that, I'd maybe look for it to break that trend line. Could take something like that as a momentum. Your RSI is pretty neutral there, so nothing major sticking out there. Coming up on that 100-day moving average, which is pretty much trending up with your trend line there, so that I'd like this better as a momentum if we can break down with some volume. How's our volume been looking here? Let's go over to the daily. Just trying to see if anything else looks good on the daily there. Yeah, nothing major with the volume in there, just kind of lighter volume. Where's my 30-day average for the volume? Hold on. Sometimes I'll accidentally reset my filters and it just annoys the crap out of me. So yeah, I mean we're trading well below that 30-day volume. All right, let's reset that chart. Yeah, if you like that flow, I mean I like it more as a momentum entry if we can break. Otherwise, if you like it here, look for my risk would be, let's go back to the daily. I like it more on the weekly chart, or sorry, to the weekly. I would probably see if you can, I would put my risk on that 20-day moving average there, that 131.86, and that'd probably be my cut on a weekly if we moved above that. My risk also would probably be if we dropped below that trend line and came back up to that. So that flow, really interesting. I mean, you're only 7% out of the money, and I don't think premiums on this one. Oh, yeah, there's not a ton of premium on this one either. Yeah, that's something that I'd probably lean more in the risky area here. Tesla 29 days, 250 put. This is going to probably more than likely be junk. 44% out of the money. 29 days, unless Tesla files bankruptcy or something, then this will more than likely be junk. And I mean, this just kind of comes with reading the market over time. You're 44% out of the money. Tesla's probably not going to drop $100 or so in 29 days. I mean, you never know what can happen, but I just don't like that. I'm just kind of looking at that flow here as it comes into that IV decreases at the end here. Does show it coming in here at the ask with an increase there. For the most part, I don't like that, and I think this is our first 42. No, we have some other volume on the day. Let's just see how it looks. So yeah, 84.80. Yeah, I mean that IV is decreasing essentially the whole way up until you get to the end. With those, I would probably say these are short puts. I mean, the odds of it dropping 44% again in 29 days, very slim. They're more than likely selling that premium. Core Weave weeklies. Let's see, 12/19/91 call. A little smaller size. Have to look at that. We'll look at the full fills here about right away. Filling at 301. It's almost a mid-fill there. That bid ask is 295 to 305, and you're filling at 301. Pretty close to a mid-fill there. 3% out of the money. Small multi-leg. Premiums just kind of chopping bid side. Definitely not earnings. So 83. So yeah, this one. So this is, I'll take a very strong educated guess that these two are probably for sure related. I mean, your timing's exactly the same. is a normal person filling 599 contracts, or would 600 sound better? That's just kind of a little, just kind of understanding the market a little bit there too. People are going to probably buy a even number of contracts, just kind of how I do it at least. But that IV does spike a little bit there. Then you do have, again, contracts all coming in same second, same minute after. Now, is this related to this? An educated guess, more than likely. I mean, you're coming in about a minute later on each, and it's not huge size, but could this be somebody tailing? I would probably lean more with it being related to that, just that same millisecond after. And I mean, there are retail traders that are following this stuff very, very quick too. I mean, a minute after gives people time to kind of catch that. And how many contracts is that? 4, 6, 8, 10 more contracts would be 610 total. If you made me guess, I would probably say this is related to it, just kind of the way that it looks more so. If it was retail, it could be somebody that's 1 contract, 3 contracts, 2 contracts, so on. I would probably say that's all related, so that IV does kind of increase. I'd rather see this split up a little bit more just so I can get a better read on it. Probably going to say no on those. How far are those out of the money? 3 per... Oh, then we got a big bid side candle right after. Let's see there. So now that IV does decrease there, but that spot increases. So this, I'm going to probably say a whole bunch of, probably nothing on this one. And again, 3% out of the money, 8 days. You're going to need a pretty big move. But you can see when this flow came in here, 215, 220. 215 to 20-ish right here. Mouse isn't cooperating the best, but you have a big bid side put as well there. So somebody did something on the put side that made that premium drop. Let's see if we can find it here. So it looks like it is the... Oh, no. Let's do the strike. So the 120 here. So 120 strike. Let's see if I can find the date here. Okay, we'll just go look up the 120 strike here. Give me 1 second. It's core wave 120. Core wave 120. So it looks like your put here is probably what did their 19 million in premium. So yep, that is what more than likely made that put premium drop here, and it is 78% multi-leg, massively in the money. Come on. Oh, why did I click like that? Okay. All right, one more time. So you can see multi-leg there, 3164. So this is indeed closer to the bid. And it looks like, let's see what it's related to. So something massively arbitrage-y that we don't really care about, but for educational purposes, you can just see how messy this multi-leg is here. So that's kind of one thing too about the net premiums, not to just fully rely on them, because if you saw that big bid side put, well, you're going to be like, oh, they're selling puts. Well, it's part of a big multi-leg trade, and I don't even know if the profit calculator is going to pull it in here, but we'll give her a try. Something that messy, and I don't think we're going to get that pulled in here and give it one more try. Yeah, it's not going to pull that one in. I mean, and half of that is no side too. You can see, well, it's mostly bid side here. Yeah, it's so deep in the money where you don't care anyways. They're 140. I mean, you're almost about 60% in the money there. So that's a good little example there. So yeah, that core weave though, yeah, just not a fan of that bid and how it kind of finished at the end there. But yeah, that's what caused your drop there in the put premiums. Alright, let's see what else we got coming in here. These came in when I was grabbing lunch. The 320.70, and then you got the 717.60. Let's look at that 320.70. So up kind of big on the day, 38% of the money, a little far there after kind of a bigger run up there. See how our tape looks. Is this our first contract on the day? No, it's not. So that IV does spike when it comes in, coming in at the ask. Looks good there. 311 the whole way up. It's coming in at the ask. Small drop there. A penny. Nothing super bad there to make me not like that. You got that so that IV stays up that entire time there. So that looks good there. I like that. Again, do you want to chase something that is already almost 5% out of the money though? That's already, or 4% out of the money. That's 4% up on the day. Jesus, man. Pretty big run up there, and then you got that very low multi-leg, but you do also have the longer term 717.60 call here too. We'll take a peek at that. This one, 18% of the money. I like that a little bit better. A lot more time on those as well too. Let's see how they look though. So this is the first transaction on this contract today. Coming in at the ask, it looks like the whole way up. IV stays up. It's a repeated hits alert. 11:10, so a couple seconds later. Could be related, might not be. We'll go with what we have. Yeah, there's nothing here that doesn't actually. This is kind of interesting here. I want to take a peek at this part here. So a couple minutes later, so you get a little more size and premium here. So a couple spikes there. Is this related to this? We don't know. If you made me guess, potentially it is. But I do like how you get more size and premium here, and that IV spikes. What do we got here? That's kind of it. Yeah, there's nothing on the feet, on the tape here, on the 60 or the, what was it, 70 call that would make me think they're not buys there. I just have a hard time chasing something that's already up 4% on the day there. And how's that chart kind of look? Silver. Yeah, I'd wait for a discounted entry on something like this, see if you can get a small pullback. You're chasing this at all-time highs, so there is that. But you had a little bull flag there, and you came out of there. That volume is kind of cooling down a little bit. If I was looking for a little discounted entry, I would see if, depending on how patient you are, look for a spot in here, or whoops, look for a spot in, let me tighten that up too, that's pretty big. See if you can get a fall there, so that 48, I mean, you get a $2 drop there, that's going to give you, right, get a $2 drop here to that zone. I mean, that's a 6% pullback, so that's a pretty good discounted entry. Metals obviously are not always like stocks, influenced more by macro. I mean, you come back here to this one, you get a 13% drop. that might be asking for a lot there for a little discounted entry, but that first zone I would maybe look at there. I mean, you're over the past, let's just see. We'll just go back to beginning of December here, make it easy. Over the last 11 days, total days, you're up 20%. So could be due for a small pullback, but have to kind of see on that. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm hearing some dings here. Yeah, let's look at these LEN 12, 19, 115s. So a little volume on them already today. Oh, I have a biggie on there. I don't like that spread. That spread is pretty horrendous there. 3% out of the money. Big spike in put premium. Let's go look at. So this is all coming in at once. So this is definitely opening. So this one, so you do have a little bit of volume before. So the IV does spike when it comes in, coming off a bunch of multi-leg stuff there. So IV spikes when that's coming in. 621. 621. So that spread tightened up a little bit there. And then you have that IV drop here towards the end with that spot rising. IV drops again. Spot price rises. Now this is the part where I might lean more as they're buying the contracts, because you have, this is where most of your size and premium coming on this line here, and you get that IV spike. But again, look at that spread here, 170 to 230. So that spot rises there from that 215. So I think this 230, again, just a lot of volume coming in at once, kind of might mess with the bid ask. I'd probably lean with these essentially coming in at the ask. Again, I just don't like that bid ask spread from a personal standpoint. I wouldn't take something like that where I have to sit and kind of question it like that. But if you made me guess, I would probably say these are buys. So, I mean, weekly is 3% out of the money. What else do we got on it? Man, my internet has been slow all week. Yeah, we'll put premium today, just not really much for calls. What else do we got on it today? Yeah, so that is definitely your biggest. And then you also have that 116, 110 put. What one? Wait, was that? Oh no, we were looking at the 115. So let's look at that 110. So this one, a little trickier. Wait a minute. What am I? Oh, I was going to say there's, okay, only 246 contracts traded on it today. A lot of previous volume, too. So a lot of volume back there on the 29th of October. So this one, 585 there. More volume there on the 8th. 600 contracts now. Yeah, I don't like this one because you see that big spike there. Volume on the 8th. No big change in open interest. So somebody else owns those contracts. So this whale, 280. They ran up to 543. Didn't take profits. Then it looks like they got rid of them at 203. So yeah, I don't like that specific chain. I'd have a little more confidence in that shorter term one, but again, just kind of what I was pointing out, not a big fan of kind of that fill there at the end. But if you made me pick, I would probably lean their buys. Alright, let's look at the HUT 121952 calls. Okay, probably definitely an opener, spot coming in about a penny below there. We can look at Netflix next. Give me 1 second here. 13% out of the money on a weekly. Yeah, a little dicey. Oh man, excuse me. Hiccups. So let's see, net call premiums, just last 14 days. It's kind of flat. So okay, let's look at our flow here. So flow, let's just see. So that IV's coming up here. Spot price is increasing. 36.98. Increases there. Spot price coming in at the bid technically here. And this bid ask is just kind of all really wonky here. So the part I do like about the flow though, big spike in IV. Your spots essentially coming at the ask, your big size, your big premium. Just before though, I just not a fan of kind of how that spread is just bouncing around there though. Again, if you made me probably choose this one, I'd probably again say they're more than likely buys. Let's see, weeklies. Yeah, you got some more 55s here too. A lot of open interest on them though. Yeah, so you don't know when this whale is kind of handing off contracts and so on. Go back to October here. Are they building this position? Let's see. So 10.3 add there. 13. Okay, so somebody else owns a lot of that contract there after the 6th there. 4,000. Yeah, a lot of contracts changing hands. You can see that volume, just barely any changes there. Yeah, a lot of contracts changing hands on this one. 4,000, no change. 1,200, not a big change. Yeah, a lot of contracts changing hands. I would not probably say this flow is reliable. Smaller change there. Yeah, just a lot of contracts changing hands, so probably not, at least on that chain, but that 60 call, or 52 call, if you made me pick, I'd probably lean buys, but tough there. All right, let's look up Netflix here for you. See what we got coming in today. So Netflix, so right away I see this put here. This is your highest volume contract on the, or well, one of the highest volume contracts on the day here. Big multi-leg percent though. So not, so that is attached to, let's see what it's attached to. And again, it's pretty far in the money, about 15-16% in the money. And just kind of a very messy multi-leg here. We'll see if it lets us pop it into the calculator. It's not going to be quite, yeah, sometimes just when there's so many of those chains, it's messy. It's a messy multi-leg contract. So, okay, we're going to move on from that one. What else do we have for Netflix? So let's see. I think those might have been part of 122, 39%. Okay, we got to find one with a lower multi-leg. 8 days, 116. I'm not seeing much here for Netflix. A lot of multi-leg stuff going on here. These might be a little interesting here, the 126 put. Again, it's far in the money though. That's the issue. I don't like that when they're that far in the money, just because you don't, it's more arbitrage flow there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much for Netflix. A lot of short-dated contracts here, but a lot of volume against open interest, so you're not going to be able to really check that. And I wouldn't want to swing weeklies over the night because theta is going to eat those away overnight unless you get a massive move. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything grabbing my attention for Netflix here. Alright, let's see what else is kind of coming in here. Alright, we had the target calls. Let's take a peek at those. Yeah, I wish there would have been there. I'm kind of eyeing Netflix a little bit too as well just after that drop. Let's go look at the chart actually on Netflix and we'll move on here. I mean, charting Netflix wise here, like let's look at the weekly. And Netflix obviously has a lot going on with the Warner Brothers acquisition stuff and all that, so I tend to kind of stay away from the big heavy news cycle stuff. Ooh, that's going to be an ugly trend line. Let me just... It's probably as good of a trend line as you're going to get right here. I would... So on my weekly here, just kind of give it a little more space, potentially. Sitting on the 100-day moving average right now on the weekly, and it looks like it bounced a little bit already. Heavy weekly volume though the last 2 weeks, so that is something I would keep an eye on. Daily volume here. Man, if you can get down, if we can get to that 90.68, I would potentially look there to start something. At least look for a bounce of some sort there. Do have a gap down here from that. Looks like 70.52 to 73.67. But other than that, I don't see... Oh, we still got another further. I don't think we're going to see that gap get filled down here or down here. $36. Yeah, I'm letting Netflix drop there. I will be loading the boat on shares for sure. You got that upside gap there. Yeah, I mean RSI is very cooked here. I mean very oversold. And the good thing, kind of looking at the daily here, the volume is kind of lightening up a little bit, but it's lightening up on a day where we're kind of getting some green here too, so that's something you got to kind of keep an eye on as well. Yeah, I'd be looking for some flow on Netflix too. I've been kind of watching. Been watching on my end. Alright, target calls. What do we got? 1701 there. So about 1800. What do we got here? 2600. I'm going to say more than likely this volume's going to carry over into tomorrow. We'll look at this one that just hit the feed here. Maybe. I need to reset my modem and at close because this is ridiculous. It's been bad for me all week. So this one, a quick double check of open interest tomorrow, but this one, so your okay. So your timing, same on those three, same on these two. So we're going to look at this again. So 2480, again, here's another 20 contracts. Are we going to open up 2,480 contracts or 2,500? What kind of sounds mathematically better to you? Probably 2,500. So with what we have here, that IV does increase. Then we got 40, 70, 100. Makes sense. So 2,600 contracts for this entire trade. Again, we don't know 100% for sure if these three are related to these two, but very educated guess. I'm going to say yes, they are. And it almost looks like they are short these calls. 101 there. So these would be, what, 4% out of the money. How's that flow look from earlier today, though? I suppose I could have just did this. So when this flow came in earlier, oh yeah, these might be short calls. Look at that IV drop when it comes in. Coming in at the ask, though, but I do not have a lot of confidence in these where I think they are buys. I'm going to say these are probably short calls, honestly. So 37.39. And then what was this one up here? 34. Yeah. These look like short calls there to me. 4% out of the money. Yeah. I mean, premium, so big drop in that put. Yeah, premium's just kind of all over the place on this one. Yeah, they look like short calls there to me. UPS. 0% multi, no earnings, 4% out of the money. Definitely opening. Big block trade here. So again, another perfect example. Timing down to the second. You are trading 3,760 contracts, or more than likely 3,800. Again, just lots of screen time and just kind of understanding human psychology, so on. Probably going to open 3,800, not some odd 3,760. So this one, that Ivy does spike here. I wish I had more flow to go around on this one, but just kind of going off of what I have right here and knowing that they're probably related, this would be a block trade, so you don't have that flow around it to kind of read and see how it's reacting. I don't like that. I don't like that. Could be buys. How far are these out? 4% out of the money. Yeah. If I seen more net call premium on the ask side, maybe you could take a small little $41 contract, 41-cent contract, sorry, $41 per contract, but could be a little lotto, something like that. All right, what else we got? Multi-leg there, we'll pass on that. Marvell, let's see. Again, spot coming in 27. Let's take a peek. So we're getting killed on the day already. Expire tomorrow. Don't like that. So this one, so probably 5,000 between all of these here. Timing very, very similar. 6, yeah, I don't like that IV kind of. It's dropping that entire time there. Yeah, these probably look like put sells there to me. Let's look at these crocs that just hit. Definitely opening flow, so these should be interesting. Okay, so we got 1,100 there. What's here? 281, 281. This is interesting. Very interesting here. So let's see. So first trade of the day on this chain, 45.80. So that IV is increasing on the way up here. Spot is coming in at the ask. That price started out at 198, again closer to that ask, so that's good there. Then we got some bigger size coming in here about 15-20 minutes later. So now you're coming in not right at that ask, so 45.81, and then that IV starts to kind of drop here, and then it pops again there. When that IV's popping around like that, I'm not a big fan of that, and then you can see it drop here at the end as well too on that bigger size and premium. Don't get a lot of confidence in that flow there. What else we got on the day? You are up as well. 2 3/4. 100 call here. What one was this one again? So the 8-day 91 call. shit, I gotta go back. $91 call, okay. So we do have a longer dated 100 call here, but bid ask is kind of mixed on it. Yeah, you got no side flow in here. Definitely not even gonna look at that. That's kind of junky there. We looked at the 91. Let's look at the 50 or the 95. And kind of looking the same here. A lot of previous open interest here, so you don't really know. Looks like it started to come in the end of October there. Let's see what we got here. Again, more no side flow, so nothing really interesting there. I almost want to say these are potentially short calls there. I wouldn't have any confidence either way in that. You're up kind of big on the day. 2% out of the money isn't very far. You get another good, decent move, but I don't like that at face value there. All right, what else do we got coming in here? AG, more gold stuff, long-term gold, so definitely an opener. Up massively on the day. Again, one where you're going to probably be able to get a better entry here. Let's look at our flow. And when it's up that much on the day, it's just, I don't like chasing. I'm just not a big chaser. 88.15. So nothing on this particular area here is telling me that it is a sell, and that 298 there, that 299, that's essentially your ask right there. That bid ask just didn't fully update there. I mean, that is just massive there. I mean, gold, just not a bear in sight on there. Not a bear in sight. And it's just, do you want to chase something that's up 7.5%? If we just look at AG here, pop in the silver. Why did I say gold? Thinking about the periodic table, I guess. With AG. So yeah, again, I mean, you're up. I look at that on the weekly, they're very far out. Yeah, I'd get a discount on something like this. I'm not a fan of chasing here. I mean, if it's something you'd want to just let it sit and percolate, go for it, but not me. I like getting the best entry I can. Alright, so some Moderna calls hitting here. What do we got? 8 minutes left. 220, 34 call. Definitely an opener. Premiums in bid side here. 15% out of the money. Not too bad. How's our feed look here? So we have some previous contracts. Okay, so IV spikes when those come in. Good sign. 536 coming in at the ask. Looking good, looking good. Looking good the entire way up. I don't see any problems with that flow at all. I like that. We have anything else on the day? These were the 220-34s. Yeah, nothing else on the day really there. Yeah, I need to reset my modem. Holy crap. Take forever to upload the damn video here. Oh, come on. So your calls did kind of drop off here. But, I mean, your put premiums are massively bid side here. So that is... I would say I like the calls there. Again, one where you might be able to get a better entry. Let's look at that chart. I know we were charting this one out before. Let's move this back to the daily. So yeah, you are obviously breaking out of that downtrend there. Good volume. Looks like that. Did we have a little gap there? No, that got filled already. I would probably... you're kind of in no man's land here too. I mean, you got over that resistance, but you don't really have any major resistance until that 31.25, and you're approaching that 200 day. So I mean, either you could take something like this where it's coming out, maybe take it on how it's been trending up. And I mean, that broke out with good volume there too. You're just getting a little cooked there on the RSI, getting a little overbought there. Look at that flow again, 34 call. That is 15% on the money. Yeah. Maybe, hey, maybe if you get a little pullback to this in here, I'm gonna delete out this old zone here. Yeah, see if you come back here. I mean, man, if you could get back to that 26.90, that would look good, because your 20 days about to cross up above that 100 day there too. So I mean, it's a really good looking chart here. I just don't like chasing it kind of right in the middle there. Yeah, get back into this little zone. That's a good looking spot in 71 days. Again, oh, it's already spiking a little bit there too. That's funny. Lulu earnings flow here. Smaller premium. Multi-leg 10%, earnings flow 100% gamble. We'll just kind of look at it. Just kind of looking at it anyways doesn't help. It's, you just don't know. So IV decreases, yeah. Face value, I'd probably say these are put sells, but again, earnings, you don't know what's going to happen. How's our tide finishing on the day? Man, just premiums tailing off. I mean, you had that early put premium, and then we're just kind of declining, and your all put premium really dropping here towards the end of the day. How's that look on a little? Yeah, that's a big drop in put premium there. Big drop there. Yeah, not much. Oh, it's pretty quiet there for flow. Only got one page of flow today. Man, those Alcoa calls from yesterday. I sold some into close yesterday, and then I can't believe I missed that run up there today. Oh well, always another trade, right? Those gold calls sitting happy. We'll do that new recap tomorrow too, that flow recap. The NCLHs, those made a really good move actually here. Same day 21 all the way up to 27, then we even hit 29 that next day, 31. So I mean, for the flow there, we're 3 for 3 on the week, and it's been a really slow week. I mean, that's what I'm aiming for, is that high accuracy on our tracked flow. But I don't think we're going to end up with too much more, so I'm probably going to hop off here. I want to go reset my modem so I can get this up. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. I'm kind of a quieter session, but hopefully we'll finish one off tomorrow and to close. But all right, I will see everybody tomorrow. Thanks.